I looked back in the mirror. A hole was opening up in the young man's forehead. I knew what would happen next, and as if on cue, blood started squirting from the gaping wound. From the reflection of his head was right over my shoulder. He opened his mouth and screamed a piercing, restless whine I alone could hear. I covered my face and retreated across the restroom floor. I slumped against the wall and curled up into my knees. All the while the screaming continued, I lifted my eyes once. I still saw no one in the front of me, but in the mirror, his reflection loomed over me. A moment later, it stopped. I was alone again. It didn't happen to me every time I was alone by a hotel mirror. No, that would have to be too predictable. He wanted to keep me guessing, feeling a constant sense of uneasiness. But every time it did happen, I emerged shaken and in a pit of self-loathing that made the rest of the workday almost unbearable. I stood up and slapped my face with handfuls of cold water. I didn't have time to put on my makeup that morning, but if I had, my face would have been an impossible mess. I did my best to look and act normal and went back up to the lobby. Robert was waiting and waving me over to the front desk. "Hey, Maury, called the security. He wants you to call him back." Okay, wow, that was quick for him. And we're getting noise complaints from some of the pooling facing rooms on floor 3. Which ones? 3133 and 3135. Want me to put you through out here? I sighed. No, I'll call them from the back. I went into the office and sat at my desk. I called security first. "Maurice, you didn't find the case already, did you?" "I haven't looked yet," he said on the other end. I closed my eyes for a second, feeling a headache coming in. "Okay, what then?" "I have, however, received the lobby cameras from 5:20 p.m. Would you like me to tell you my findings?" "Yes, Maurice." "I would like you to tell me." Now, as I pointed out, I can only see what the cameras will show me, and after watching them multiple times, I regret to inform you, they did not find me anything. I didn't know right away whether to be relieved or concerned that the cameras didn't pick up the tall, eerie figure I saw. If they had, then what the hell was that thing? But they hadn't, which left the open possibility that I was going crazy, something I had begun to entertain more and more seriously. "Thanks, Maury. Try to let me know soon about the case, okay?" "I will be glad to, Apre." "Great, bye." I hung up and pulled up the reservation for the 2 rooms that had called in noise complaints. 3133 was booked under Nagayan. I hadn't dealt with them yet, and there were no troubling notes on the reservation, and 3135 was Wojciechowski, the last person I wanted to talk to. I called Nagayan first. Their phone rang 5 times without an answer. This happens all the time. Guests will call to ask for something or complain, and if I have to call them back, they don't pick up the phone. They either leave the room for some reason or do something stupid like sit on the balcony with the sliding door closed so they can't hear the phone. Then they get upset because they think we didn't get to them. Still, 3133 was an ocean suite, and the Nigans had booked for 7 nights. I went up to visit them in person. Off the elevator, I rounded a hallway corner and knocked on the door. 3133, a soft-spoken woman answered almost right away, but didn't pick up the phone. I hate hotel guests. I heard the problem. No metal music was absolutely blaring from the pool deck, anyone staying on this side of the building could hear it. Hi, Miss Nagayan. I'm April with the guest experience team. I'm here about your noise complaint. Finally. Does this sound appropriate to you? She pulled me into her room by a hand and yanked open the balcony door. You hear how loud that is? She said with a metal truncated off my eardrums. Yes, of course. I'm very sorry about that. I'll make sure. She interrupted. This is not what I paid for when we stay at this resort. And if that's the kind of guest you allow here, there's plenty of other places we can go. I understand. I assure you we'll take care of it. We take this very seriously, and I will personally make sure they turn the music down. I trailed off when I looked back outside and saw the guest in question. Mr. Kilday was alone, shirtless, and stretched out on the chaise lounge, surrounded by a bucket of beer and plates of food. He had a big wireless speaker next to him streaming music from his iPhone. He was the only guest at the pool. I looked at the water. It was brachy and cloudy, not clear like it normally was. Then I saw why. The tall, eerie figure was laying flat on the bottom of the pool, and now there seemed to be something sprouting from its back. My gut twisted, and I had to grab the balcony railing to instill myself. Was I going crazy or not? Don't just stand there and go and tell him to turn it off, said Miss Nagayan, understandably upset. Madam, do you see that in the pool? I asked her, trying to seem calm and probably failing. She looked at it blankly. See what? I pointed in the water. She didn't react. Miss, are you all right? She asked. Yes, sorry, I just thought Never mind. I'll make sure he turns down the music, Miss Nagayan. I left the room and leaned against the wall once the door of 3133 shut. I left like I was falling apart. If the resort had been fully open, I would have gone home early in the day. There would have been other managers and more staff to pick up the slack, but right now it was just me, and the scheduled employees, Amisha, still allowed me to schedule. I walked off the sharp-looking Barton in the maroon logging suite approach. Why does that room have a doorbell and mine doesn't? She stopped and asked with a raised eyebrow, referring to 3133. I tried my best to reset for the new conversation. That room is a suite. All the suites have doorbells. She crossed her arms. Well, why didn't I get one? I wanted to be like, I don't fucking know. Did you book it, bitch? But obviously I couldn't say that. I noticed her room key sleep. It said 3135. She was in the room next door. This was Mrs. Wojcicki. If you're thinking about upgrading, I could look and see if one of our suites will become available, I said instead. You know who my husband is, right? Jason Wojcicki. He stays 180 nights a year in your resort. We're Diamond members. Yes, ma'am. I met him yesterday. We're supposed to get automatically suite upgrades. Yes, when those suites are available, but we're undergoing renovation, and only a fraction of our rooms are open. No suites were available when your husband checked in. She scowled. We know the hotel ownership. At this point, I stopped caring. Oh, me too. I know the owners. What's one of their names? She clearly didn't know. She just stood there looking at me incredulously, then taped her room key on the lock and disappeared into her room. I slumped against the wall again. The hotel gods were surely punishing me for something, and I still had to go confront Kilday about turning his music down. I got down to the pool deck and walked over to where Mr. Kilday was lounging despite the day I was having my face lit up once we saw each other. I couldn't help it.